Meaning of democracy. Democracy means rule of the people. It is a combination of two Greek words, demos, which means people, and kratos, which means the sun, which is the most important source of light and heat for us, is one of these stars. Similarly, the moon, the other important natural source of light, is a satellite, while the earth, where we live, is a planet. The stars, the satellites, and the planets are among the countless objects spread across the sky, known as celestial bodies. In Athens, the ancient city-state of Greece, all the male citizens formed a body called the assembly that took the important decisions of the state. This was perhaps the earliest form of direct democracy where people directly participated in governance. But slaves, women, and people of other states living in Athens were not a part of the assembly and did not participate in the decision-making. Democracy developed further in the Roman Empire 509 to 27 BCE and played an important role. An assembly of important citizens and people elected consuls to run the government for a one-year term. In the age of feudalism that came after the fall of the Roman Empire, democracy was almost forgotten. It was an age of violence, wars, and the tyranny of the kings. An important milestone in the history of democracy was the signing of the Magna Carta in 1215 CE. It is also known as the Great Charter of the Liberties of England. The Magna Carta was a document that the king was made to sign by a group of nobles. It restricted the privileges of the king and established that the king could only punish people on the basis of the laws of the land. Even the king himself was not above the law. The nobles could punish him if he broke the law. The American War of Independence was the next important step in the history of democracy. 13 British colonies in North America declared war against the British monarchy in 1776. The colonies adopted a document called the United States Declaration of Independence, which stated that the colonies were no longer a part of the British Empire and they were forming a new sovereign state, the United States of America. One of the most important events that brought about the downfall of monarchy and the establishment of democracy was the French Revolution, 1789 to 99 CE. The French society was divided into three classes or estates. The first estate comprising the priests and religious leaders, and the second estate comprising the nobility ruled over the third estate, which almost entirely comprised of poor peasants. The third estate was made to pay all the taxes, while the king and the first and second estates led a lavish life. Finally, the third estate revolted that led to the fall of the monarchy. A national constituent assembly was formed with representatives of all the three estates. It adopted the Declaration of Rights of Man and of the Citizen in 1789, which stated that all men are equal by nature and before the law. Other forms of government. While looking at the history of democracy, we have seen that democracy essentially developed as a response to other forms of governments such as monarchy and dictatorship. Monarchy is the rule of the king. It is the earliest form of government. In a monarchy, the king has absolute powers and sometimes he is helped by his council of ministers. History is full of stories of just, benevolent kings as well as those who were cruel and unjust. Another form of government is dictatorship. In such a system, one person called the dictator assumes all powers and rules a country according to his or her own wish. Dictators often tend to become oppressive and unjust. Dictatorship therefore results in an unpopular form of government. A republican form of government is based on the principles of democracy, where the head of the state, the president, is elected by the people. Types of democracy. We have read that all the male citizens in Athens were members of the assembly, a body that took all the important decisions. India is a democracy, but do you think all the citizens of India directly take part in all the decisions of the government? Why? Let us try to understand. In modern times, there are two kinds of democracy, direct and indirect. Direct democracy is a form of democracy where the citizens directly participate in the affairs of the government. Today, direct democracy exists only in small countries such as Switzerland. A more popular form of democracy is indirect democracy or representative democracy, where people choose their representatives through elections to form the government. Elections are held after regular intervals so that people can choose their own representatives. All the citizens of a country, without any discrimination, are allowed to take part in the elections. Thus, all people have equal rights in choosing the government. Equality plays a very important role in the successful working of a democracy. Let us know more about equality. Democracy and equality. Political equality. In a democracy, all the adult citizens of a country have the right to vote. This is called universal adult franchise. It is an example of political equality. In India, every citizen has the right to cast their votes during elections. Moreover, everyone is treated equally by the law of the land. Religious equality. Religious equality means that people belonging to all religions are treated equally. The government cannot discriminate against anyone on the basis of religion. Every religion has equal importance and festivals of all the religions are celebrated with equal respect. Economic equality. Economic equality means equal opportunity for everybody to earn a livelihood. There is no discrimination on the basis of caste, creed, or religion. It means that the workers will not be exploited by their employers, or the farmers will not be exploited by their landlords. It also means equal pay for equal work. Everybody should get the same amount of money for the work they do, irrespective of his or her caste, gender, or religion. Social equality. Social equality means all the citizens living in the society have equal rights to visit all the public places of the country, such as playgrounds, hotels, shops, or markets and wells, roads, and toilets. All the people are treated equally and have equal rights and duties. In India, the laws of the country recognize everybody as equal. Discriminatory practices such as untouchability has been abolished and is punishable by law. A democracy is only successful where all kinds of equality prevails and people live in a free, unrestricted environment. Marginalization. Even though equality is such an important feature of a democracy, many kinds of inequalities still exist in a democratic country like India. Let us look at some examples. In our houses, the house helps are often not allowed to sit on the sofa or the dining table. They are made to sit on the floor and are given separate beds and utensils. This is an example of social inequality. Rohit's father is a poor daily wage laborer. He cannot afford to send his children to school. Every morning, when they see children of their age going to school in a big bus, they want to go to school themselves. But then they remember they are too poor to go to school. This is economic inequality. Many such incidents show that economic and social inequality are still very common. Social practices such as the caste system and less pay for women are important reasons for such inequalities. In India, for many years, people belonging to the upper class or the dominant class have treated the subordinate classes unfairly, resulting in huge inequalities in the society. They have been subjected to social, economic, and religious inequalities and tremendous oppressions by the dominant classes. These people are sometimes referred to as the marginalized sections of society. Many social reformers such as Raja Ram Mohan Roy, Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar, Dayanand Saraswati, Jyotiba Phule, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar and others raised their voice against the discriminatory practices prevalent in the society. They worked tirelessly for the upliftment of the deprived sections of the society. As citizens, we should also try to discourage different forms of discrimination in the society by not encouraging any discriminatory practice. Only then true democracy can be established. Inequalities around the world. People all over the world have faced and are still facing some kind of inequality or discrimination in some places. There have been people who have stood up against these injustices. One such courageous lady has been relentlessly fighting for the establishment of democracy in her country, Myanmar. Let us know more about her, Aung San Suu Kyi. The pioneer of democratic movement in Myanmar, Aung San Suu Kyi entered the field of politics in 1988. She was visiting her ailing mother in Myanmar when people were protesting against the oppressive rule of General Ne Win. On 26 August 1988, Aung San Suu Kyi addressed 500,000 people at a mass rally in support of a democratic government that had been overthrown by a military government called the Janta. In September 1988, Aung San Suu Kyi formed the National League for Democracy and became its General Secretary. In July 1989, the government placed Suu Kyi under house arrest in Yangon. She was offered freedom only if she left the country, but she refused. In the 1990 elections, she was not allowed to contest. Even though the National League for Democracy won many seats, the military government refused to recognize the results of the elections. In 1991, she was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize, but she was not freed from house arrest. The award was accepted by her son. With her prize money, she established a health and education trust for the people of Myanmar. In 1995, due to pressure from various countries of the world, Suu Kyi was freed from house arrest, but her movements were restricted. In 2002, she was again put under house arrest. In 2009, a United Nations body declared her detention illegal under Myanmar's own law. Finally, in 2010, she was freed from house arrest. In May 2012, she contested elections and became a member of parliament. It is a kind of discrimination based on the color of the skin. The white-skinned people consider the black-skinned people inferior and treat them very badly. Martin Luther King Jr. Martin Luther King Jr. led a movement against racial discrimination. In the US, the dark-skinned people, or the blacks, faced many discriminations and were denied all rights. Martin Luther King Jr. decided to fight for their rights and became the leader of the civil rights movement. Martin Luther King Jr. decided to fight for their rights and became the leader of the civil rights movement. In 1964, he was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize. Martin Luther King Jr. first experienced racial discrimination when his white neighbors refused to let him play with their boys. On another occasion, he was traveling by bus with his teacher when the driver asked them to stand up and let two white people have their seats. Martin Luther King Jr. decided to fight against such injustice. Many people around the world have raised their voice against all such injustice and inequalities. Their combined efforts have resulted in the eradication of inequalities and establishment of democracy as the most popular form of government in the world.